Hello everyone. First of all, please confirm me whether my audio and video is clear or not. So actually
Hello
this
everyone.
session is,
First of all, please confirm me whether my audio and video is clear.
yes, I think it is clear. I can hear. So this session was scheduled yesterday 9 p.m. as part of a regular every Tuesday, Wednesday and Friday. I was taking the sessions in this YouTube channel, but yesterday I was not able to take it. So today I'm taking the same session at 11:30 a.m. in this morning. So continuation of the last paper 1 session which was happened on Tuesday, that is sustainable development goals, then respective indicators as well as target we have discussed from the official website itself. Now today we'll try to complete some concepts, small concepts of a paper 1 as well as which are most important concepts, as well as this SDG total 17 goals will able to complete. Right guys? And with this we can get at least 1 or 2 marks for surety from this session. So that's what the agenda. Unacademy is I also teach at Unacademy Plus platform as well as free platform for the UGC NET paper 1 and paper 2 commerce. So today topic is that UGC NET paper 1 most repeated topics of the NTA. And myself, Vodnala Shivalingam, a qualified NET-JRF in commerce. I'm a verified educator at Unacademy Plus platform as well as free platform for teaching to the paper 1 and paper 2 commerce, NET in management and qualified postgraduate diploma in business finance, researcher in commerce and a best educator awardee also. And Unacademy Plus subscription will be having one subscription will give access to all the Educator Plus courses for the paper 1 and paper 2 of different subjects. Iconic subscribers are going to get, apart from the plus courses, Iconic are going to get personal guidance, test analysis, expert guidelines and the study planner, and post qualification guidance also, interview tips also will be given in the Unacademy Iconic subscription. So you can join into Unacademy Plus. These are the plans which are available over here. So if you look into this plan, this is about plus and this is about Iconic subscription. So you can look into the prices over here and use the invite code SHIVALIVE, SHIVALIVE to get 10% off on the subscription. And guys, you can join into my Telegram group. Unacademy space Vodnala Shivalingam is my Telegram group. And you can follow me in the Unacademy Learning app also. The link is given in the description already. And this you need to go to the Telegram and search this name so that you will get all the updates regarding my sessions. And plus courses for the both paper 1 and paper 2 are going on for the commerce PYQ and paper 1 PYQ courses, as well as chart wise revision of paper 1 of 7 units is going on at Unacademy Plus platform. You can join into Unacademy Plus by using my referral code SHIVALIVE. You will get 10% off as well as you will get additional 10% discount if you use your free learning credits by watching more of free live sessions. Let us go into the session. First you tell me, do you want me to cover the SDG remaining portion or else what? Shall I go through with other topic? I wanted to cover this topic. Mainly I wanted to cover this SDG only so that we can able to complete the main important, not only SDG targets and all, by here the history of the SDG and implementation progress and more important information is also there in this history. You can just look at direct authentic information we can able to get it if we can cover this whole website data. I will try to cover this part after completing the pending portion of SDG number 9 to 17. Once we have done with the important small points with respect to those SDGs, I will come back to this slide and I'll explain what is the background and how it started, how it is going on, and implementation progress also we'll try to discuss it out. Right? So let us start with the SDG one by one goal. So in last class, I believe we have completed till the 8th goal we have done, and now we need to move into the 9th, industry, innovation and infrastructure. Let's look at goal number SDG number 8, industry, infrastructure as well as industry, innovation and infrastructure. This is a goal number 9. Good morning guys, good morning. 8 goals done. Now we are going into the 9th goal. Let's look into it. build a resilient infrastructure and promote the inclusive as well as sustainable industrialization and foster the innovation. Main promotion is that research and development has to be done and infrastructure needs to be developed. Everybody should be using this the developments whatever happened. That is what the goal number 8, goal number 9. Global manufacturing production plummeted as a result of the COVID-19 crisis. Right, means it is the manufacturing of a production manufacturing has been stopped. So here falling of 6.8 percentage manufacture has been fall down across. If you compare to the all years, by the 2020 due to the COVID-19 situation, manufacturing industry fall down by 6.8 percentage, and it is catastrophic loss for air travel demand, because air travel demand you can look at. Even though air traveling was working out, even though air travel is after the lockdown completed, even though it was open, still it is due to the restriction only they have to run the airlines and all. That went to huge losses because of this operation, because we have to leave the two things in order to maintain the social distancing all. So air passengers dropped from 4.5 billion to 1.8 billion in 2020. That is 60% decline. And the manufacturing of medium and high-tech products fulfilled economic recovery in late 2020. 4% growth is there in the high-tech products. Enhancing the rural and connectivity helps to reduce the poverty. Mainly rural road connectivity is the one which is hampering us. So rural road connectivity, if we can do, that will increase that will reduce the poverty and it will be accessible to many members, whatever they produce things. And almost a 300 million out of the 520 million rural dwellers lack of good access to the roads. 300 million people are lack of access to good roads. They are facing the problems with respect to road. Increased investment in the R&D essential to funding the solution of a crisis as such COVID-19. So R&D with this now, actually this is a major concern of every country. This is a major concern of every country almost. If you put more into the R&D, we will get to know the problems that we can face it, which will be coming in the future. We are ready to face that. They will be identifying a solution by way of a research and development. So 2.2 trillion global investment in the R&D in 2018 and 1,235 researchers per million inhabitants 2018. Right. So that's about the data. Now we want most important that we know very well, targets. Right, targets. Guys, do hit a like button if you like this session. By session will be like, somehow you will get a boring or bored out of this session, but important information, static information where we cannot do anything, more of retention based. So targets. Target number 1, develop a quality, reliable, sustainable, resilient infrastructure, including the trans-border infrastructure, means transferring from one place to another place, right? And human well-being with a focus on affordable and equitable access to all. In this, proportion of the rural population who live within the 2 kilometers of all season route and passengers freight volume by mode of a transport. These are the two indicators to achieve this target. This one of the target to achieve the goal number 9. There is nothing important statistic over here. So 9.2, promote the inclusive and sustainable industrialization by 2030. Significant rise in industry share of employment and gross domestic product in line with the national circumstances. So here most important point is that rise in industry as well as GDP. Rise in industry employment as well as GDP is a main point which you need to understand. Total static part. 9.3. 9.3. Increase the access of small scale industrial other enterprise in a particular developing countries to financial services, including affordable credit and their integration into the value chains. 9.3. So small scale industrial and other other enterprises. Means not only developing a large industries, we should also develop the small scale industries, because these are large in number. By providing a financial services and a proper credit facility at affordable credit facility, do not charge a higher rate of interest, that will harm the small entrepreneurs for sure. Right. Next, 9.4. Upgrade the infrastructure retrofit industries to make sustainable with increased resource use efficiency and gender adoption to clean, environmentally sound technologies, industrial process, with all countries taking action accordance with the respective capabilities. You can just see, by the 2030, upgrade infrastructure retrofit industries to make them sustainable. Their efficiency has to be increased mainly. Highlighter where it is. Okay. Next, 9.5, which is enhance the scientific research and upgrade the technological capability. We need to increase our research, and technology also need to be updated by the 2030. We need to encourage the innovation, and here facilitate a sustainable resilient infrastructure and development, and financial and technologies, technical support in African countries, least developed countries. Technological development is required in least developed countries and landlocked developed countries, small Iceland developing countries also. Please, red pen color. Red pen only I am using. Okay. So that's about the goal number 9 and their indicator. So overall, there is no significant data to be remembered in the goal number 9. There is total of almost with a title only we can understand. Now the 10th one, reduce inequality within and among the countries. Reduce inequalities within and among the countries. Look at, reduce the inequality within and among the countries. The pandemic, again the COVID-19 situation, for every target, every goal we are seeing. The pandemic is likely to reverse the progress made in reducing income inequality since the financial crisis. Income inequality, because some people due to the no financial sources, every source has been stopped. No work is going on and no salary, nothing was there, and income flows have been stopped, business are not running. Due to that, inequalities has been more. And COVID-19 estimated to increase the average Gini for emerging market and developing countries. Gross national income. So this Gini index measures the income inequality and ranges from 0 to 100. It is ranging from 0 to 100 will be there. Gini index 0 to 100 it will be there. And where 0 indicates income is shared equally among the people. 0 indicates income equally shared. Whereas 100 indicates 1% total income. Means entire income belong to one person only, or entire income belong to only one entity. In 2020, 4,186 death and discrepancies were recorded on migratory routes worldwide. Migratory routes worldwide means moving from one country to another country. One country to another country. Yes, Gini index 0 to 100. Next, by the proportion of a global population who are refugees has more than doubled since 2010. So for every 1 lakh persons in the country, 311 people are refugees. And this remittance costs are at the time low as 6.5%. Remittance costs are all time low at a 6.5%. Further progress is needed to be reached the 3% target. Instead of 6.5%, we need to reduce it to 3% target, or else from this 6.5 we need to add 3% more. With that 9.5% it will. Let's move to the target. Target number 1, important target. Important target. Number one, if you look at progressively by the 2030, progressively achieve sustained income growth of bottom 40% of the population. Look at bottom 40% of the population. %40 of the population. Achieve and sustain the income growth of 40% of the population. 40% of the population income has to be increased. And by the 2030, empower and promote the social, economic and political inclusion of all, irrespective of age, sex, disability, race, ethnicity, origin, religion, everything. All the people have to empower and promote socially, economically, politically. We need to include everyone irrespective of this discrimination. Next one is that ensure the equal opportunity. Ensure the equal opportunity. Equal opportunity and reduce the inequalities of a outcome, and including by eliminating a discriminatory laws. If any acts also there, we need to remove, and policies, practices and promoting appropriate legislation and action in this regard. Adopt a policies, especially physical, wage, social protection policies, and progressively to achieve the gender equality. Adopt a policies, especially physical and wage and social protection policies. Improve the regulation and monitoring of a global financial crisis and institution and strengthen the implementation of such regulations. Ensure the enhanced representation and voice for developing countries in decision making. Target number 4 is that ensure the enhanced representation and voice for developing countries in decision making. Developing, not only developed countries, but developing countries also to be included in decision making process. Developing countries in the global, international and international economic and financial institution. It could be WTO, it could be IMF also. Economic and financial institution. Right. Next, facilitate orderly, safe, regularly responsible migration and mobility of people, including implementation of planned and well managed migratory policies. Migratory policies for what purpose? This is mainly for those who are moving from one country to another country. The policies need to be we need to plan very well, and we need to create a stringent mechanism for them. And remaining 3 targets, look at reduce the less than 3% transaction cost of a migrate remittances and eliminate the remittance corridors with a cost higher than the 5%. So here we have to reduce the last one we have seen in the last slide. Reduce less than 3% of the transaction cost. So people went from this country to another country or another country to here they came. So in such a case, they will be having a converting of currency from one currency to another country. Those are called as migrate remittances. Those has to be reduced to a maximum extent possible, so that everybody will be having a equal income opportunities also. And that will be eliminating you need to eliminate which are having more than 5% transaction cost is there. Now that is to be eliminated, so that everything will be falling below 3% target. That's about the goal number 10. Chalo, goal number 11. Make cities and human settlements inclusive and safe and resilient and sustainable. So please type the goal number 11. Sustainable cities and communities. 1 minute. So the pandemic has worsened the plight of the slum dwellers. Yes, sustainable city and communities. The majority of the more than 1 billion slum dwellers reside in their regions, in 3 regions. That is the region number 1, Eastern and Southeastern Asia. The top three slum dwellers residing in Eastern and Southeastern Asia, Sub-Saharan Africa, Central and Southern Africa. Central and Southern Asia. This is Asia and this is Africa. This is also Asia. Eastern and Southeastern Asia, Central and Southern Asia, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. These are the three major slum dwellers, top three regions. One half, look at again, there is a data related. One half, 1/2. This is also 50% you can write. Of the world urban population have convenient access to public transport. Only 50% of a world population. Yes, you can find Sarika. Obviously you can find. One half of the world urban population have convenient access to public transport, that as per the 2019 metrics. Right. So here for every 500 meters or every 500 meters they are having access. So convenient access means residing within the 500 meters walking distance, a bus stop or a low capacity transport system is available. But remaining 50% doesn't have that. Only 50% are having this. Right. Next, if you look at the average global share of urban area allocated to streets and open public spaces are 16% only. Means within the urban area, in that urban area, 16% of the area allocated to the various small streets as well as open public places. So short of the target of 30% street and 10 to 15% open public. The target is that from the 16% we need to make it as a 30%. We need to improve this. The small street space has to be increased by 16 to 30%, and open public spaces also need to be increased to 10 to 15% more. And 156 countries have developed national urban policies, but only half are in the implementation stage. How many are in the implementation stage? Again, half are 50% only implementation stage. That's about the pandemic situation and all. Now the targets, if you look at target number one is that ensure access to all adequate, safe, affordable housing and basic services. How the sustainable development and the consumption can happen. So because goal itself is indicating this is make cities and human settlement inclusive and safe, resilient and sustainable. Right. So if that be the case, sustainable cities and communities. We need to make the proper cities and communities like streets and open access to all, like those. Access for all, adequate, safe and affordable housing, and upgrade the slums. Slum areas need to be removed or need to be upgraded to some extent by doing some repair activities. So provide the safe, affordable, accessible and sustainable transport system for all. Improving road safety, notably by expanding a public transport with a special attention to the needs of those vulnerable situations. Special attention to the women, children and person with disabilities and older person. For these categories, you need to give special attention to improvise those communities which are vulnerable communities. Enhance the inclusive and sustainable urbanization and capacity for participatory, integrated and sustainable human settlement planning and management in all countries. Enhance the inclusive and sustainable urbanization. This is totally, the targets, how they frame. Every target is indicating the goal. Every target is actually taken from the goal only, if you look at. But our target is to remember wherever the this 50% increase, 30%, half, 3/4, 75%, the metrics are there, that is important for our examination perspective. Right. Next, strengthen the efforts to protect and safeguard the world cultural and natural heritage. We need to protect the world's cultural and natural heritage which is there in India as well as the world in the respective countries. Significantly reduce the number of deaths. Most important way. Significantly reduce the number of deaths and number of people affected, and substantially decrease in the direct economic losses relative to the global GDP caused by disasters, water related issues, and focusing on poor and people in the vulnerable situation. We need to protect. We need to reduce the number of deaths. We need to reduce the number of deaths. And here, reduce the adverse per capita environmental impact of cities. We need to reduce the negative per capita environmental impact. Per capita environmental impact in cities, including by special attention to the air quality and municipal and other waste management. Air quality and municipal and other waste management. Next is that 11.7. Provide a universal access to safe and all, that is a regular one again. Support a positive economy and linking the urban and peri-urban and rural areas, proper linking by connecting. And yes, substantially increase in number of cities, and as well as policies towards the inclusion of these cities in the urban and rural areas, adapting to a climate change and resilience too, which are possible to protect even though disasters are coming. It must be in a position to sustain the resilience to disasters, develop the implement SEDI framework. SEDI framework also I will discuss, because this SEDI framework is then a SC and DA framework that is related to SDG only. Disaster risk reduction 2015 to 30, holistic disaster risk management at all levels. Disaster risk reduction 2015 to 30, at all levels disaster risk management we need to undertake. That's about the goal number 11. 50% now. Which one 50%? Death rate. Here nothing is mentioned by them, but in one of the question is mentioned, I think. You are speaking about that only. Chalo, goal number 12. Responsible consumption and production. Let me tell you one most important point. As per the 2022 index, SDG index, India achieved 100% achieved SDG 12 and 13. SDG 12 and 13. Goal India 100% achieved, SDG 12 and 13 achieved. Okay. Remember this point, 12 and 13. 13 will be climate action, and this is ensure the responsible consumption and production. Material footprint. The global material footprint increased by 70%, as well as 1 million plastic drinking bottles are purchased every minute, and 5 trillion single-use plastic bags are thrown away. So that is why we have increased from the past 2000 year to 2017. How the change? 1 million plastic drinking bottles are purchased every 1 minute. Now 5 trillion single-use plastic bags are thrown away. We are not using that much plastic bags. Each year we are reducing the 5 trillion. Developing countries still have the vast untapped potential for renewable energy. Developing countries still vast untapped, matlab we didn't even touch that much renewable energy is there to produce. New renewable electric capacity 880 watts per capita developed countries. Remember this by again metric came. The target is that 800 watts per capita in developed countries and 219 watts per capita in developing countries. As compared to the developing countries, the developed countries is 4x. 219 into 20, 200 into 4, 820 into 4, that is 880 total. Here 880, 220s in developing country, 219. In developed countries it is 880. 880. Okay. By the 2020, total 700 policies and implement activities were reported as of now, and the 10-year framework of programs on sustainable consumption and production from 83 countries and the European Union, that is 28 other nations, 83 countries and the European Union. Right, that's about the one part. Second part is that electronic waste, e-waste, countries to proliferate, and it is not disposed of responsibly. Each person generated about 7.3 kg of e-waste, but only 1.7 kg was recycled. Where is the remaining is going? Out of the 7.3 kg production of the e-waste outside, 1.7 kilograms only getting recycled, means remaining is going as a pollution. Remaining total kg of e-waste is going and creating a pollution. Despite of the progress, fossil fuel subsidies continues to threaten the achievement of this Paris Agreement 2030 agenda. The Paris Agreement 2016 is there now, that is also initiated. So apart from that, 432 billion in 2019, a decline of 21% from 2018. There is a decline in it, right? So now if you look at the targets, the list, how can I tell that list? By developed countries, developing countries, that is energy. You are asking, acha, you are saying as a watts, 880 watt, it's a gigawatt. Implement 10-year framework program sustainable consumption and production. 10-year program has to be implemented. And second one is that achieve the sustainable management and efficient one. And now this third one is more important. HAL matlab 50% by half of two parts. 50% per capita global food waste and in the retail and consumer level. This is a PYQ 2021 question. 2021 PYQ. Goal number 12, responsible consumption and production target is having 50% per capita global food waste and the retail consumer levels. We need to reduce by 50%. We need to reduce by 50%. Right? And achieve environmentally sound policies in order to protect and through the life cycle mechanism, like international framework or whatever agreed now, we need to implement for that. And sustainably reduce the waste generation through prevention, reduction, recycling, reuse. Three R's need to be followed. Reuse, recycle and reseller, like the 3 R's will be there. Next, encourage the companies, especially large transactional companies, to adopt sustainable practices and to integrate sustainably information into the reporting cycle. Encourage the companies mainly to have, mainly the transnational companies, not transactional, sorry. Transnational companies means company doesn't have a proper headquarter recognition. It is company which is working throughout the world, right? And promote the public procurement practices sustainable in accordance with the national policies. Global policies need to be changed according to the national policies. And ensure that people everywhere have the relevant information and awareness about the sustainable development. We need to give proper information about the sustainable development and lifestyle in harmony with the nature, right? And remaining things, I don't think we are having a proper important data to be remembered. In this whole, only one thing, that is 50% per capita global food waste we need to reduce. Next, goal number 13, climate action. Climate action or climate change. So this is about goal number 13. Climate action. Climate action. Take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts. Climate change and its impact, as I already told you, this goal is a one which is India achieved 100%. First goal it is climate action. Later the previous goal, which is goal number 12, responsible consumption and production. So the climate crisis continued largely unabated, and 2020 global average temperature at 1.2 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial level. Paris Agreement. Look at 2020 global average temperature at 1.2 degrees Celsius as above the pre-industrial baseline. Woefully off track to stay or off track to stay at or below the 1.5 degrees Celsius as called for the Paris Agreement. But Paris Agreement is saying 1.5 degrees Celsius and below the pre-industrial level to 2 degrees Celsius. That is what. But here 1.2 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial levels. Yes, this is above the pre-industrial level, means it is below the 1.5 matlab it is above the pre-industrial levels only. 125 of 154 developed countries. Out of the 154 developed countries, 125 developing countries are formulating and implementing the national climate adoption plans. National climate adoption plans are being implemented. Those highest priority area includes food security production, terrestrial and wetland ecosystem, freshwater resources, human health, key economic sectors and services. These are the high priority areas as per them. Next, rising greenhouse gas emission. Yes, bhai, this is one of the most the problem with every country. Greenhouse gas emissions require a shifting of economies towards the carbon neutrality, and this current greenhouse gases emissions are like this. It is rising, the rising is going on 2019, 2050. So now we are in the 2020, right? So it is keep on rising. By the 2050 we need to reduce the 1.5 degrees Celsius scenario. The global warming or the greenhouse gases has to come down like this. And climate finance increased. Climate finance mean we need to put the amount of funding by 10%. It got increased from 2015 to 16 to 2017 to 18, reaching an annual average of 48.7 billion growth. Target, is there any important things by in the targets? In the target, no, there is nothing. Only that you need to remember in the overview whatever the metrics I shown. Chalo, next one, goal number 14. We are almost nearby. We will be able to complete. Don't worry. Your board session will come to an end. Life below water. Life below water. Life below water. Something important will get bored when the static area like this. This is also important for the exam. If you leave, if you do not watch or if you don't read this, then obviously you may lose one mark for sure, because after analyzing all the shifts of 2021, we have almost all the plus members knows about it. We have recognized that the importance of each and every target of all the 17 SDGs. That's how they were asking a questions from in-depth. In-depth matlab same statement, copying and pasting. So if we can read out this statement, at least we will get protected. Conserve and sustainable use of the oceans and sea and marine resources for sustainable development. Sustainability of our ocean is under severe threat. Plastic and marine pollution is much, it is going on. Ocean warming, acidification, eutrophication, fishery collapse, all these are the leading into plastic or marine pollution. Plastic or marine, ocean warming, fishery collapse, as well as eutrophication, acidification, all of these are threats for sustainability in our of our oceans. These are severe threat. Over the 3 billion people rely on the oceans for their livelihood, because fishermen will be relying on the fishing and hunting and all those things will be there now. They are the families who are depending, their income is depending on them only and their livelihood will run with that only, right? Next, about half of the countries, look at important, about half of the countries, 50% of the countries worldwide have adopted specific initiative to support a small scale fisheries. Many countries have taken, 50% of the countries have taken a decision to support the small scale fisheries, right? And if you look at dead zones are rising at a alarming rate, and from 400 in 2008 to 700 in 2019. Dead zones are means a zones where if we go into that water area, the oceans, then probably the high prone to death. Next, dead zones are of areas water that lack sufficient oxygen to support a marine life. It may be fishes or the living organism inside the aquatic, which are marine life now, who are fishes and prawns and all these will get died if they go into that area where oxygen is not available. Those are dead zones. Over the half of marine key biodiversity areas are not protected. 50% of the key biodiversity areas are not protected. 50% of the key biodiversity areas are not at all protected by the government or by taking a proper initiative. On an average, only 1.2% of the national research budgets are allocated for ocean science. This is the very less. 1.2% of the national research budget, out of the not the GDP or not the national income. Whatever the research budget is there now, out of that national research budget, only 1.2 is allocated for ocean science, which is very low. Right? What are the targets? So anything metric related, metric 50% and wonder here there is goal number 14 and fifth target is that conserve at least 10% of the coastal and marine areas. 10% of the coastal and marine areas, 10% of the coastal and marine areas consistent with the national, international laws and based on the best available scientific information. We need to conserve minimum to minimum 10% of the coastal and marine areas. And remaining things are not that much. 15, we are very near, only 3 are left. 16, 17. Hello Abhishek. Goal number 15, what? Life on the land. Life on land. Protect, restore and promote a sustainable use of the terrestrial ecosystem. Sustainably manage the forest and combat desertification, halt and reserve land degradation and halt biodiversity loss. We need to stop degradation of the rivers as well as degradation of the reverse land and biodiversity loss also we need to stop as per the goal number 15. More than a quarter means 1/4, 25% or 1/4. More than this 25% or 1/4 of the species assessed by the IUCN Red List. Point to be noted. This question has been asked. IUCN Red List has been asked. IUCN Red List has been asked. This is a repeated question in 2 shifts. IUCN Red List is there. More than 25% or quarter of the species are assessed by the IUCN Red List. Threatened with extinction. This 1/4 of the species are threatened with extinction. Okay. The proportion of threatened with extinction are 41% are amphibians, 34% are conifers, as well as 33% are reef building corals, and 26% are mammals, 14% are birds. These are the options given in that particular question. These are given in that option. Particular question is asked na. These are the options which were given. Out of that, I think mammal is the correct answer. Which of the following is listed down in the IUCN Red List? That is, mammal was the answer. If I am not wrong, as per my memory, what I remember. IUCN Red List is a track the data more than 1,34,400 species of mammals, birds, amphibian, reef building corals and conifers. More than 1,34,000 species they will record, put a data. more than 37,400 species are threatened with extinction. Means out of this 1,34,400, 1/4 or 25% or a quarter. Right. And progress has been made towards the sustainable forest management. Right. But the world has lost 100 million hectares of a forest, 100 million hectares of a forest in the 2000 to 2020 year. In 20 years, they lost this much. Next. Progress to safeguard the key biodiversity areas has been stalled. Means stopped. Over the last 5 years, to stop the biodiversity loss has been stopped. Global mean percentage of each key biodiversity area covered under the protected areas 2021. Those are 40% of the terrestrial area and 42% are freshwater area, 41% are mountain areas. These are the percentage of the key biodiversity areas which are treated as protected areas, remaining are not protected. Almost all the countries have adopted legislation for preventing and controlling the invasive alien species. So many laws have been enacted by them. Next, indicators, important indicators. If you look at, is there any metrics? Sustainable and desertification soil, this is the common by. So there is nothing metric related. There is no percentage and target related. So it is more of general statement with regard to this only. Goal number 16. Peace, justice, strong institution. Promote the peaceful, inclusive societies for sustainable development, provide access to justice for all, and build effective and accountable and inclusive institutions at all levels. Goal number 16. Promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development and provide access to justice for all, building effective, accountable, inclusive institutions at all levels. The pandemic is an intensifying children risk exploitation, including the pandemic is intensifying children risk of exploitation, including trafficking and child labor. These are the two major problems. So trafficking as well as child labor. 1 out of the 3 trafficking victims are children. Out of the 3 children, one children is trafficking. Out of the 3 trafficking victims, 1 is child, remaining are adult. So child labor rose to 160 million in 2020. First increase in 2 decades is that almost 160 million, highest increase. And bribery is at least 5 times more likely in low income countries. Bribing is 5 times, at least minimum to minimum 5 times. This is important. Bribery is 5 times in 5 times more likely in low income countries than high income countries. In low income countries only it is 5 times more as compared to the high income countries. Look at the scenario. Good. And in 2020, the killings of 331 human rights defenders were reported in 32 countries. Who are human rights defenders were reported 32 countries. Almost the killings of 331 human rights defenders who are defending for the human rights. And at a 8% and 18% increase from 2019. So 32 countries put together, 331 people got killed. Only 82 countries had independent national human rights institutions like a human rights commissions and all. Na? For our country, human rights commission is there. In the same way, for only 82 countries have that mechanism. Remaining countries doesn't have anything. Targets. Like significantly reduce all forms of violence, exploitation, trafficking also need to be reduced, torture of children, promote the rule of the law at international level, significantly financial flows, reduce the corruption, bribery, accountable and transparent institution. These are the again regular same statement, not much important statement. Okay. Final 17 goal. Goal number 17, which is common for all. This goal is common for all almost. Till now the respective goals. Partnership for the goals. For improvising all these 16 development goals, we should require support each other. We should have a proper cooperative mechanism between the countries. Strengthen the means of implementation and revitalize the global partnership for sustainable development. So NET-ODA, that is reached a target of high 161 billion in 2020. Here representing 0.32 percentage of the donors in gross national index. Actually this GNI, weight by GNI. One second. Even I'm trying to get that part. They didn't define that one actually. This GNI is actually related to income, but in this context I am not able to do it. So a net ODA is an officially developed assistance. A record of high 16 developed assistance matlab it's like cooperation maybe. Here proper full form has not been given, but still a short of target of 0.7% of the GNI. GNI, I believe gross national income index only, that is Gini index only they are speaking about it. FDI, foreign direct investment dropped by 40%. How much by foreign direct investment has been dropped by 40% from 1.5 trillion to below 1 trillion. From 1.5 trillion to below 1 trillion it got fall down in the 2020. 63% of the low income and low middle income countries are in need of the additional financing for data and statistics. To face the challenges posed by the pandemic, to cope up with the challenges which was given by the pandemic COVID-19 situation, this low income and low middle income countries requires additional financing from international economic organizations. And defying predictions, remittance flows to low and middle income countries reached to 540 billion in 2020 year. 540 billion in 2020 year remittances flow. Only 1.6 below 2019 level. 1.6% is somehow less as compared to the 2019. In 2020 it is good. 540 billion has been remitted. Nearly half of the global population, again 50%. Half of the global population, 3.7 billion people are still not online. Means they are not using. Not online matlab they are not connected via internet. Despite the immense need for a connectivity during the pandemic. Not online matlab they are not connected to each other. 3.7 billion people, nearly 50% still. So targets are, look at Target number 2 is more important. Developed countries to implement fully official development assistance, that is ODA, including commitment by the many developed countries to achieve the target of 0.7% of ODA or GNI. Right. This was the achieve the target of 0.7% of ODA or GNI 2. This is developed countries. Developed. And developing countries are 0.5 to 0.20%, 0.15% to 0.20% of the ODA GNI in developing countries. This has to be reduced. And ODA provides are encouraged to consider target at least 0.2% of the ODA in least developed countries. 0.2% target in least developed countries, LDCs. These are the three targets. Okay. Now remaining, so ठीक है भाई, long term sustainability, funding, multiple sources of income, all these things. 0.7 in developed, 0.5 to 0.20 in developing, and 0.20 in least developed. Remaining things so common, so not much important. Everything about the coordination and all those things only. Funding, coordination between the countries. Highest number of targets are there in the 17 only. Now let us go to the home. Why home? I will tell you, because most important information is being listed there. So look at by थोड़ा important information is available over here. SDG knowledge, I think. So 2030 Sustainable Development adopted by United Nations member states in 2015 as a blueprint for peace and prosperity and people and the planet. 17 SDGs were called up, and here you can see the SDGs built on the decades by the countries and the United Nations, including United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs. You can look at that, is why United Nations will be there on the top for the SDG. The top is United Nations Department of Economic and Social Welfare, Social Affairs, Sustainable Development will be there. So in the 1992 Earth Summit was conducted now with the 178 countries were adopted this Rio Summit Agenda 2021. Agenda 21 in the Rio de Janeiro. Member state unanimously adopted MDGs at that time. From the 2001 year to 2015 MDGs were in operation. Right. The Johannesburg Declaration, which is on the sustainable development plan of implementation, adopted World Summit on Sustainable Development in South Africa in 2002. So what is that by World Summit on Sustainable Development in South Africa 2002? They reaffirmed that global community to reduce the poverty and environment and built agenda of 2021. MDG Millennium Declaration they got declared in 2002. right? 2002 Millennium Declaration. And the United Nations Conference on Sustainable Development Rio Plus 20 conference in the 2012 happened. The outcome of this 2012 is that the document title isn't the future we want. The document title is that future we want. The future we want, in which they decided to launch the process of developing a setting up of SDG. They initiated a decision like SDGs need to be brought up. United Nations High Level Political Forum Sustainable Development, a open working group got formulated. High level panel committee got formulated. They have looked into it. And in 2013, General Assembly set up 30-member open working groups, and that they decided post 2015 MDG agenda. After MDG, what is going to be there? The process 2015 landmark that there is a requirement of 17 sustainable development goals, and a United Nations Sustainable Development Summit in 2015 has been conducted, right? So in this 2015, that United Nations Sustainable Development Summit happened in September 2015. There was a landmark for the multilateral international policy shaping with adoption of several major agreements. Those are, in the March 2015, Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction has been adopted, one of the document. This is agreement, multilateral agreement. And audits and ABABA Action Agenda, AA, Audits and ABABA Action Agenda on Financing Development to 2015 July. Transforming Our World, third document, Transforming Our World, 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development with a 17 SDGs, United Nations Sustainable Development Summit in the September 2015. So this is related to SDG formulation, right? Even though 2015 that United Nations Sustainable Development Summit, this document, and in this only the Paris Agreement on Climate Change December 2015 came out. So these are the four important multilateral policies has been decided in this council called as a summit called as a United Nations Sustainable Development Summit 2015 September. So these are the four documents four multilateral agreement. Now the annual high level political forum and sustainable development serves as central United Nations platform to review the SDGs. So the division of sustainable development goals and with a Department of Economic and Social Welfare, Social Affairs of a UN have substantive report of a capacity building. Total 17 SDGs were outlined and they started implementing that one. So various SDG reports are there, numbers 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Out of this, I just wanted to tell you, as per the 2022 index, India ranking 121 out of the 163 countries. India rank is that 121. Previous year it was 120 rank, now it is 121. One rank we dropped, we lost one position. Now it is 121 rank. If you want to look into this also, let me tell you. If you look into this report, let's see how the report looks like. This is how the report is. I will show you. This is an unedited version as per them. So let's directly search the India information. Why to search other things? Correct? Where the search option is available. Here only, sorry. India, is there any? I think no, there is no information with respect to India. let's look into this report by, if anything important, let's try to discuss fast. Acha, I think whatever they stated in the each and every goal, they have given as a report. You can look at by the 2020, by the 2030, 80%, 50%, same things. Total majorly about the pandemic only this is there, because 2020 was a entire pandemic only, na. Yes, that is totally about that only, by whatever we discussed, it is there. So that's about it, by. I hope you enjoyed this session. That's about the Sustainable Development Goals 2016 to 2030 target implementation. And these are the important points which we have not explained. I must say, this is I given information by reading this one. I read it, literally I read it. But understanding is not important. This is purely of a memory based questions will come from this static portion, where they can hit a question and like statement directly they are copying and giving the target statement they are giving directly. So in that case, we at least we can able to remember. Already we have read this one now, we can able to remember. So that's about this session. Thank you so much. We will be meeting in the evening plus platform at 7 p.m. for the all plus members. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Good night to all. So have a good day, not good night. Happy weekend. And please do subscribe to this channel and press the bell icon. So I will be coming live in this channel every Tuesday, Wednesday and the Friday 9 p.m. I will be there. 9 p.m. every Tuesday, Friday, Wednesday. Thank you. Bye to all.